So my name's Janice. I'm known online as Solo Traveler, and I came to travel at the age of 15. I went on my first trip by myself. Started saving for it at 14, dreaming about it at about probably 10, and I cycled for a month in the UK, and never traveled with my family again. So yeah, traveling by myself has been a lifelong thing.
That's good.
I'm Sarah, and I travel an awful lot with my husband Terry nowadays. But before that, I have travelled with friends and family, and always been passionate about seeing the world and meeting people everywhere. And it's just. I was actually able to bring travel and my work together because I'm a journalist, and ended up as managing editor of some magazines, and that was just the best thing. So I've continued in that vein.
Well, I'm Terry, and married to Sarah, and I've travelled all my life. I have a wanderlust which I'm sure I inherited from my father, and to this day, travel enthralls me. And I've never met a country yet that I didn't absolutely love. I'm far happier when I'm abroad than I ever am at home. So I think that I'll travel to the day that I drop down.
My name is Jody. I am not married to Sarah. And I actually also travel alone, much like Janice, but my focus is on food. I started traveling when I was younger, and I actually worked as an attorney for many years in the States. And during that time, I took vacations like everyone else, but I really wanted to see the world in a different way. And for me, that's through food. And I ended up saving up enough to quit and travel for a year, and ended up basically starting a trip that's still going. It's been 4.5 years at this point, and primarily I love to learn through food. So as I travel, I tend to look at the history and the anthropology of a place through the things that people eat. And to me, it's a really compelling way to learn as much as possible and also eat some very good meals.
So the Traveler's Handbooks is a series of handbooks, guides to help people travel the world in a certain style. They each offer tips and advice as well as stories for inspiration. And the styles vary. So for mine, there's a Solo Traveler's Handbook, there's a Luxury Traveler's Handbook, the Food Traveler's Handbook. And not represented here, unfortunately, are two other authors, one for the Volunteer Traveler's Handbook and the Career Break Traveler's Handbook. So why don't you talk about some of the structure of the books?
Which one should go first?
I can talk about food. I think all of the books are structured in a similar way, in that there's that consistency across the brand, so that we've tried to make sure that if you do pick up one book, you can look at all of them and see that kind of brand consistency throughout. But obviously, each of the books really speaks through its own style and its writing style. So for me, with food, I talk about why food matters as you travel, how it's a lens through which you can see the world in a different way, but also the things that people are very concerned about, validly so, how to find food as you travel, how to find food, sourcing it, but also find out about it before you travel somewhere, and safety, how to eat it safely, how to find the things that are tips and tricks that travelers have used in building out how they find their meals on the road. And that includes tips from myself, having learned the hard way and gotten food poisoning on numerous occasions. The lessons I've learned were hard-earned, but also each of us in the books do speak about safety as it's reflected through each of our niches, which I think is a very important and valid concern from the people who are looking to travel.
I think the interesting thing about the books as well is that they just they each have an angle. There's Jodie's book is kind of taking on street food and finding it and being able to eat safely. Our book is about value for money luxury, but also getting out and discovering the destination that you're in and having a real experience. And so it's the same with yours. I mean, yours is taking solo travel in a different vein again, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, exactly. Most guides out there now are all about the destination. It's the where of travel, whereas these books are about the how and why of travel.
What I love too about the luxury book is how, about the volunteering book, is how Shannon doesn't just talk about volunteering as being an important way to travel, which it is. It's a very fulfilling thing, and a lot of people are looking to do trips that involve giving back in some way. But she also tackles the other side, which is that we each have to do a lot of research in building out the trips that we take, especially when it comes to volunteering, when sometimes the money doesn't go to the final organization. Sometimes the middleman is not disclosing necessarily all of the fees that are associated. She really demystifies the idea of going out and giving back in a way that's very accessible, but very honest, and I think it's really refreshing. I enjoyed her book as well.
Very much, yeah. And the same thing with Jeff's. The career break travel book. The issues around making the decision to actually go and take a break from your career. How do you prepare and set things up so that when you return, you're going to be okay? As well as the planning to be on the road for a long period of time and the like. These books go through kind of a lifestyle of travel.
I think they're showing the... Oh, sorry.
No, it's also the from the start to the finish as well. It takes you, each book takes you from the planning stage right the way through to when you're on your trip, and also then the section on safety as well. And for the volunteers and the career break, it's also about the return, how to re-embrace life at home.
After the reverse culture shock kicks in.
Yeah.
It all comes from a very personal perspective as well, where we all explain why we do what we do, the reasons we do it for, and how we came to do it in the first place. And although all the books have a different topic, there's a theme running through it of individuals seeking to do something different with their lives and wanting to explain to others how they can also enjoy that sort of lifestyle if they're willing to do it. And from taking a career break, to travelling solo, to eating abroad, to enjoying luxury, to volunteering, each of them offers something new, and hopefully it will act as inspiration for others to take that step forward themselves and say, I can change my life if I want to, and I can make it better.
Yeah. I think one of the interesting things is that personal side of things, because if the books were just filled with tips and advice on how to do things, they would be very dry. They'd be quite tedious, but they're all peppered with stories that reflect, that relate to our personal experiences on the road. And these stories bring the handbooks to life and do offer inspiration around travel in the styles that, we're individually talking about. So it's that balance between the storytelling and the advice and tips that are offered that make the books quite unique as well.
It isn't just a case of you can do this or you should do this. We're actually saying we've done it. And here's our personal examples of what we've done and what we've been through. And we're all here to tell the tale. And our lives have been changed immeasurably for the better as a result of what we've done. And so we're able to offer practical examples to people of not just talking about it, but we show that we've actually walked the walk, not just talked the talk.
Okay, so the books are being published next month in October 2012, and they'll be available on the Amazon bookstore and also on Kindle. And in fact, they've been published on nearly every ebook reader there is.
That's right.
I think we've got them covered,
all
haven't
the
we?
majors for sure.
Yeah.
It'll be available in two formats, because everyone's question is this an ebook or is it also available in dead tree format? It's going to be available both in hard copy and via electronic means, so it'll be distributed across different platforms and compatible with whatever readers people have, like as you said, be it Kindle or iTunes, Nook, and available as well in the UK in certain UK stores, both online and on online print on demand as well.
And the books are full color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are travel books, so of course the books are full color. So the photos are
with
there.
photos, exactly.
Yeah,
Very
lots
visual
of great
books.
photos.
Actually, Jodie's photos kept making me feel very hungry.
I have to admit, I read her book for the first time, and I had to go and have something to eat. She made me so hungry reading that book.
Good, yeah.
That is the point. The food book should make you hungry.
Yes,
Otherwise,
of
I've not
course.
done my job.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The future of this series is very exciting. There are there are so many possible travelers' handbooks to be written. The title has been designed specifically to allow for that. So there can be the couples travelers' handbook, the wine travelers' handbook, the dog.
Pets. We love
Pets
pets.
travelers handbook, right? Yeah. So there can be just so many, and including things like the deaf travelers handbook and the blind travelers handbook, and really provide really social value to people in that situation. So there's just lots and lots of opportunities, and so the series will grow. We expect a minimum of 5 more books in 2013, and then another 5 or so, depending. It could be much more in beyond.
And we're actually asking people who are interested in contributing if they have a niche or a lifestyle of travel that they think is a compelling book in the making. We really would love to hear from them. And on our site, thetravelershandbooks.com, there is a form that people can fill out and suggest a niche that they would want to contribute to the series. And even in the brief period of time that we've started talking about this publicly, it's been wonderful to get people enthused about their way of traveling and really wanting to share it in a book of this sort, in a handbook as well. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what people come up with.
Yeah.
It's going to be really fun.
And what we come up with.
Yeah, I mean, that's just only yesterday it was sort of officially announced, and we've had quite a number of people approach already, very excited and interested in potentially being authors next year. So it seems to have captured the imagination of many people. So after only 24 hours, that's a very good position to be in. What happens in the coming weeks and months, who knows? But it's all looking very promising.
So if you want to learn more about the Traveler's Handbooks, you can go to our site, thetravelershandbooks.com. There's also a Facebook page you can like, and you'll get information on the books when they come out, as well as we'll be updating it with information from each of the categories of the books already published. So there's there. You can follow us on Twitter as well, for that matter. So you can follow us in many ways.
And all of those accounts are actually the same. It would be the Travelers' Handbooks as each in those mediums. So that one term should give you the cross-section of social media. The Facebook page will also be updated because it's such a beautifully photographic medium. We'll be able to put photo albums from each of our niches, and we're looking forward to sharing the ways that we travel, not just from the book, but also in other posts that we've written on our own sites and on interesting things that we find. So the Facebook page will be more of a living tree, and the site will handle the books and the Twitter feed as well.
And also there's a newsletter that you can sign up for on the Traveller's Handbooks homepage of our website. So that will bring you all the latest travel stories from our sites and pictures and so on as well of our various travel niches.
So I'm Janice. Look out for the Solo Traveler's Handbook.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm Terry, and look out for the Luxury Traveller's Handbook.
I'm Jodie, and look out for the Food Traveler's Handbook.
Bon voyage.
Hasta luego.
Adios.
And bon appetit.
both
We've always
love
travelled.
travel.
We've always
Yeah.
both loved to travel, and then when we met,
Individually and then together.
and then when we met, we were able to share our passion for travel together.